All right, let's jump into weekend wrap. And where we at? That's 20 past 10 or 21 past 10 on the Sunday. So a little bit later again, but as I always sort of say, main sort of thing is to get the idea to have a look at how the sort of week sort of ended up. Any potential news and excuse me, that could have been sort of popping out over the weekend, and obviously sort of give us a bit of an idea about where things sort of, obviously, as I said, just finished, and where they may be going, some levels, some key levels breaking, holding, these kind of things. Just get a bit of a framework and an idea of sort of how potentially sort of want to sort of trade and tackle the week. So look, I'll start off with Aussie because Aussie's been look, it's been a great trade. It's been a great trade from last couple of weeks coming down here from that big sort of shakeout here, yada yada. But look, more to talk about just this week. Look, we had this sort of pullback here. Was this actually I'm sorry, not CBI, RBA. RBA was, I think it was the Tuesday, wasn't it? We actually did fairly well, sort of post the cut, but I think that was around this section here. Anyway, sorry, going off on a tangent. Um, this pullback down here was around that time that we had a couple of headlines sort of coming out with China and the US potentially making a deal. That's actually what got this sort of bigger move just up over here. We did have the cut, as I said, 25 base point this week, but because it's been so heavily telegraphed in that for so long, like as I was said, I've been saying the whole time, this is where, this is the market pricing in for the cut. Like it's been closer and closer and closer the last couple of weeks in that all through this period here. And the market's been buying Aussie up. It did not care. It had already played that card. It was buy the rumor, sell the news. But buy the rumor, get bored that it was taking on so long, sell that. And when it finally came, they're like, "Oh, okay, yeah, great. We've already played out that scenario," and it appreciated afterwards. So it seems to be very much a theme that I've seen recently, particularly ECB more recently. BOC was like this. RBNZ, not this particular cut. They did a 50 base point cut this week, and they did get smacked a little bit on that. But previous one to that, they also cut and it moved up. So I think because we're in this sort of like sort of part of the cycles where the market's sort of like, it's not sort of like, oh my God, that was a shock. They know it's coming, they've been prepared for it, and when they finally do cut, well, it's having an actual inverse reaction to it all. And I think that's snapping a lot of the sort of, I guess you can say maybe the new money and the new people coming out that are going, well, a cut should equal the price goes down. And look, end of the day, that's kind of what will happen. But it's the conditions around it that they cut as well. It's obviously what's going on with the other economy. It's not just a cut hard and fast sort of thing with just the cut alone. There's other sort of wheels in motion with it all. But anyway, long story short, onto the charts. This move down here, I just missed my fills down here. So, this is obviously the plan. I thought, look, maybe we get a deeper pullback, but, two levels of buys through here. I had orders set up at 25, so just where we are, so 25, so just about here. So, as you can see, just in the little buy zone, market came down, collected, and then bang, moved up. And as I said, look, if actually get on a lower time frame, you can see how hectic this period was. This was Thursday, so bear with me. What was the news on Thursday? That's right, yes, the unemployment, the all important unemployment numbers. I didn't see the revision. What was the revision? Revision was even higher, 56 up to 60. Spam that 20. Look, I do this every time just because it's a kind of almost at this point ongoing sort of joke. Like 26, 47, 25, 46, 25, 15, low on this one here. At 10, that was about the closest they got. They got 10 off in about these. Between these 2 months, they kind of averaged out. But as you can see, it's always miles off. And go back to the chart here of how the market reacted to that one. Where are we at? The 1 hour here. Yeah, so this period here, we had employment data shot us up here. We had DXY gap open and then sort of like close the gap, which pushes down here. And then we had some headlines come out that said, China and the US could be potentially making a deal. And that just went bang and rolled off. Anyway, long story short, I missed this part through here. I did catch some smaller little trades through here, but certainly not this big bulk. I just sort of watched it go and I was like, ah, damn it. But yeah, this was the three, it looks quite dramatic with these three arrows, but this is what I was saying that what was going to get Aussie to be moving. And there's three prongs to it all. And if they're all moving in this direction, of course, you're going to most likely see Aussie moving up. That's home data, which is, in this case, strong employment numbers, which means that sort of they're not in any sort of it's a tick in the camp for holding rates for longer. Of course, we did cut 25 base point this week, but as I said, heavily telegraphed, whatever, and it doesn't look like they're in any rush to do another cut. We've got the election coming up as well, so I'm going on tangent here. With the election coming up at some stage, probably in the next couple of months, most likely not going to see anything before then. So you've got at least another couple of months of before people start to speculate, oh, they're going to cut, they're going to cut, they're going to hold, whatever. So you're going off what data sort of presented to you now and going off what Bullock said in the press conference afterwards. Employment is one of the things that they're looking at. So you've got strong data on the home front, which is the employment. You had US dollar selling off, which is generally kind of even a big one than our homegrown data. Yes, it sort of gapped up and then moved down, but then we had an extreme sort of period of weakness of DXY and US dollar broad selling across the market. So there's two parts moving up. And then just really to boot with this as well, you had China and the US potentially making a deal. So you've got strong Aussie data, weak US, and then you've got China proxy. And that's bang, bang, bang. And as you can see, Aussie ripped up to the top side and, it moved almost 100 points. Let's go 90 points or so from the bottom to the top up there. Great, and that's the thing. These are the three things that you can move. You can have strong local data, US dollar buying, so that's negative for it all, and then China negative. This doesn't matter then in that case. It does, but it's all just about weighing up how much each of these three factors are sort of playing out at the time. And the secret sauce for Aussie is those three. When you get those three happening, buy Aussie, we're going higher. Plus equities were at the highs, copper was holding up, look, it wasn't too bad. And this was that sort of trade through here. We did set up this nice little trend that sort of tried to sort of move up through here. And this is the kind of time around this sort of period over here I started to short Aussie. And I think it was whatever video it was on the Thursday or Friday, it must have been, I think, down here. And I was saying, look, if we go down through this section here, we're coming and cruising down through here. I had this buy zone set up with the idea that this would have just rolled over and come down here and we would have bounced back up. We didn't, so I deleted buys through here and actually sort of held one of my longest shorts for a while, actually. Like, if you watch anything that I do, I pepper it with entries and, Aussie, it's a bit of a slower mover. If I can get 20 points off Aussie, then I might, bang, lock that in. Because, if you're doing it over 4 or 5 positions, there's your 100 points. There's your 50, 60, 70, 80 points added up. So, that's obviously a little bit of an easier way to move. But as a singular, I got in a couple above 64 for the short side. And I closed, I think the last one had a 53, I think I went out. So I got right down the bottom over here, which was actually a price target. So I actually sort of woke up and I'm like, where's that position gone? And of course it had closed out, which was good. So yeah, look, anyway, that's where we're at with Aussie. A little attempt to move up here. We did have price targets, main ones, of course, up over here. So I don't believe that this move is fully completed. There wasn't really so much of a technical reason for this to be sort of returning, so rejecting in that and sort of moving down from a little bit lower, just above 64. But it had a good sort of little run, had a push up, and then, of course, mainly what we sort of saw was a little bit of US dollar buying coming into the end of the week. We saw equity markets sell off, which is a bit of a cheat for Aussie, actually, to tell you the truth, because equity markets have been ripping it up all-time highs for ages. It has not been helping Aussie whatsoever. And now that they sell off, well, all of a sudden the Aussie cares about it again. So, look, it's interesting anyway. It's interesting anyway. So let's put this stone over here. This could be a point of reference, and that should we start to get a little bit of a rally up over here, which we will get, of course. I don't think we're really setting up at the moment to have that's it, that's the move, and here's the rejection. But it's a significant little knockdown. That's on the 1 hour. If you have a look on the 4 hour, smack back down just of that one move there. That's just straight sell off. That's profit taking through this. And we've sort of, closed around the 61%. I don't think it's at any point that it's about to sort of finish here. So early week, maybe a little bit of a sort of push up, great little top wick, but I would say we're definitely coming back down. And I think, buy zones, look, if I could get down over here, it'd be interesting in that. I would probably tend to move this up a little bit now because we've seen that, these have been the areas that have been locked in. This was a little bit, you could pretty much chalk this up to a fake out. this move here, because of course we did have, again, if I just go back onto the lower time frame, positive news pushed us up, and then all out of nowhere we just bang smash back down. And that was just off a little bit of a DXY closing the gap. There wasn't any sort of fundamental reason. And then, of course, we had the headline out and bang, we moved up over there. So, market was okay. Yep, happy to buy it. Close down here, close, and solid candle down, close underneath, and then return to the bang move all the way up. So this just felt a little bit trappy. So I do believe that sort of you may have some people that were trying to go short through this period here, got trapped. Maybe they've ridden it out through here. Hopefully they got out, but I mean, whatever, that's their book. I don't really care. But the point is, once it comes back down here, you got market buying through here. If anyone did try to sort of short around this area, they're going to be, oh, geez, I got a chance to get out for zero. I stuffed that up. I risked a lot, bang, back down to zero. They'll be getting out. So I imagine this to be a little bit of a buy area through here. Doesn't mean it's going to go, okay, bang, and then we move up over here. It just means that I expect some sort of reaction through this zone over here, around this sort of 63.40, 63.33, 63.30, that kind of area down over here. So I wouldn't be surprised if a little bit of more downside here to come, continuation of this sort of price action down through here. Should we come down into here, look for some sort of basing. I mean, that's over the 78%. It's quite a deep sort of pullback if you do get down to here anyway. And then maybe a push up and test this falling resistance and see what the market does with this over here. Retest maybe around the open levels for the week as well. Which, should this play out, again, these are all just ideas with it all, but, should you get a fill in the mid there, so it's only 20 points. It's not really much to talk about at all. All right, anyway, that's just a little bit of a sort of early sort of thing for the Monday of the week. I'll get this out because that's not true sort of trade that we're looking for at the moment. We do have CPI this week, actually, so I may as well jump onto a bit of the news and data coming up while we have this. Last week of the month as well, there's a couple of big things happening, actually. So there's German elections going on, which could affect Euro. And if you extrapolate it out, it could affect Euro, which could affect basically DXY, obviously, but US dollar as a broad sense. If people sort of see some sort of results that sort of favor a bit of a stronger Euro, we could see a bit of a snap reversal. And if they start selling the US dollar against the Euro, of course, Euro is going to be the beneficiary here because that's their local thing. But you'll get a bit of proxy movement with that as well. This could hold Aussie up a little bit. But in terms of actual Aussie data, we got CPI coming out this week, and 2.5, 2.6. So there's the two numbers that for some reason they don't put the core on here. This forex factor in that. But anyway, we got 2.5, 2.6. So it's expected as a little bit of a tick up, which is obviously, if this does happen, it's going to be stronger, bullish for the Aussie. And that's kind of sort of where the risk is at. That sort of if this does jump up a little bit higher, maybe you see a bit of a pushback up with the Aussie. So should it come in, two charts over there, should we see a little bit of a push down earlier and then CPI come in a little bit hotter, that could give us some good buys to be pushing back up over here. Because really, if you think about it, from what Bullock said at that press conference, she's not really in any rush to, sort of say, hey, look, we're going to cut again. They said it was a sort of a bit of a discussion. It was a borderline sort of thing, yada, yada. But as I said, I just don't think we've got anything for a couple of months. It's going to be the sort of data dependent stuff. Strong Aussie data is going to sort of mean that, it's going to take away the alleviation, the necessity to cut sooner rather than later. If we get some weak Aussie data, weak retail sales, unemployment sort of going up, weak GDP, these kind of things, they're going to be the ones that go, okay, hold on, wait, maybe they do need to cut again. But it's probably too early. Well, no, it's not probably. It is too early to sort of say that, given we just had the rate cut 3 days ago. It's almost I won't get too into this, but it is almost a bit of a joke in that, they're sort of, everybody's clapping their hands and they're like, yeah, wow, it's finally come. They're interviewing these people on the street, and honestly, I kind of almost feel a little bit bad for some of these people because they're sort of sitting there and they're like, oh, this is the one that we needed, and it's just been it's going to make such a difference. You're going to be saving $80 a week. maybe $100 or something. Well, some of these people, they probably did borrow the full million, so they're saving 150 a month. Sorry, not a week, a month. And keep in mind, while people sort of say it's saving, this just means that you can reduce your minimum payment as well. So basically you're on the hitch for a little bit longer anyway. Look, I know people are hurting. I've got a mate that's got a mortgage, and he's saying I think he said it was two-thirds of what he pays per month goes to interest, and a third goes to the principal or something like this. I'm like, that is just insane. But it's funny, you have one rate cut, and the houses on auction this week were 1,300. Last week were 500. And it's just like, whoa, okay, bang, buyers stepping out. There's more buyers coming in, start of 2025. So this is the problem. Like, as much as Bullock says that it's not anything to, like, they're not in charge of the housing market and yada yada, this is where you're going to see large levels of inflation and large lots of sort of swabs of cash being sort of thrown around because, people get sort of like, a quarter percent rate cut with nothing else potentially on the horizon, and they see that as a green light. And this is what I've said for a while, that this is probably why they can't sort of cut too much too drastically, because people aren't responsible with this stuff. And this is why so many people are hurting, because when they took their loans, they weren't sort of, okay, look, I make this much, I can pay back this much. They're like, what's the max I can borrow? Boom, let's borrow that. And they're having bidding wars and going on and all this kind of stuff, and FOMO completely with the housing market. So anyway, regardless, I go off on a bit of a tangent with these things. So the idea with Aussie, a little bit of a push up early. We'll be looking for a little bit of a lower level, ultimately to sort of probably buy coming into that CPI. If we do get a hot number, I expect us to start to push back up towards that 44. If we look at it on a daily, actually, you can see that obviously it was an ugly-ish kind of candle, but it doesn't mean that we're sort of out of, that's not sort of like, okay, bang, we've hit the top and come back down here. I could see this making a new high coming up into our sort of target area before we see a bit more of a sustainable move down. I think this is potentially like an ugly sort of thing, but I don't think this is the top of it necessarily. Keeping in mind, I do have a couple of short runners, don't have any longs at this stage. This is where I'm interested about sort of seeing what we're going to be doing with it all. So a little bit of a push up, push down, get some buys, and then sort of start to target around that sort of 64 zone, particularly if we get that sort of hotter CPI. DXY, so obviously the one that is sort of driving the market here, as it always seems to be. This chart is getting quite messy, so what we can do is get rid of a couple of these ones. All right, so where are we at the moment? We had that push up, as we said, sort of coming down through midweek. We hit the 38% and got crunched. Like it broke this little sort of rising support that we had sort of coming on here, which got a bit wonky for a while. Like as you can see, there's a little bit, this is a bit steeper, yada yada. But regardless of it all, this is the level in which it sort of pushed through. And as it came through here, went tick, 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 and then bang, sort of slammed down through there. So I'll just clean this up a bit more. So we did make a new low, but as you can see, we gapped up a little bit. One candle, second candle, closed that gap, and then on its way. But it's not exactly looking like, wow, okay, US dollar buying definitely back in charge here. So I think we could potentially still see some downside. A little bit more of a squeeze. This felt a bit sort of squeezy through here. Maybe a little bit more of a push up over here. Look for this body fill. So let's put this back over here and see what happens with this body fill, I think. XY, H4 body fill. This is where I'll be interested. Because this is a little bit of a push down, and inside this candle here, obviously they tried to push it down, put it back up. But I would say there's a little bit of a squeezing to go out on this, and then we see the drive down here. I'm still maintaining that we have a price target down over this level over here. As I said, look, I've got Aussie short at the moment. I'm short metals as well. I'll get onto silver and gold in a moment, but this as it is as a structure, well, we got down, support, resistance, target the lows, breakthrough, starts again. support, resistance, whether the resistance is here or here, whatever. Then we're going to target the lows again. I feel you do need to have 1, 2, we need to see this structure play out. There is a chance always that you get a V shape like this, but it's not the norm. It's more this structure here. And when this leg comes, you'll have your higher low, which will lead to a higher chance of reversal. Lower low, move towards our price target. Double bottom, potential range, potential bottom. Bit more question mark kind of thing. But I do believe that this leg still needs to come, hence why I'm not going full tilt into sort of US dollar strength at the moment, because obviously we're in a very strong sort of downtrend here. But I am sort of thinking we are getting close to it. I think one more little push down, squeeze out a few more people, and then we look for this bigger move, take out these highs, maybe come back up to these kind of areas over here, which would give us our head and shoulders, similar to the highs back in November. And then we could start to see another leg down here. And it's the same structure, just on a higher time frame. Support, come up and get your resistance. Then you have the third move down here. So these little ones here, they're fine for a couple of days to set a trend. But these bigger ones, on if you put this onto a daily, these kind of moves here, these are the ones that will sort of set up a trend for a couple of weeks, a month or two, potentially. I mean, if you come down here and this sort of breaks through like this, which would give us our head and shoulder, that's what's going to enact our move down to 101. Well, I mean, the idea of potentially moving down to 1. Of course, we've got a little buy zone through here. We've got supports down through here. So there's places for it to stop along the way. But that is a very nice sort of little head and shoulders with a defined neckline. So you work out your measured move, and your measured move from there gives you a price target down at 101, which is, a couple of months play kind of thing. But anyway, so getting ahead of myself again. With this, I think that, as I said, I think we could have a little bit more of a sort of like a move up before they try to screw those people, move it back down. Let's see what happens with these elections over in the Europe. I think Germany, is it? Yeah. Anyway, over there, we'll see what happens with the elections over there, and see if we can sort of get some little play to sort of get, as I said, early US dollar buying, and then a bit of a move down here. We are looking oversold, tipping over. It does look like it wants to go up. So I think too many technicals like, this, it does look like it wants to go, but maybe they screw a couple of people out and then they make it move to the top side. So we'll see how that one goes if we have a look on lower time frames here. As you can see, look, it is trying to move up, but there are obviously still some bits to sort of work out. But I think if you can move up here, you can sort of get a nice level to sort of start to sell US dollar off to start to get that bigger leg to break down there. All right, and onto gold. So gold have been shorting through the week as well. We're really doing a lot to sort of hold it. We're back at the main trend line here, and this is what I was saying, that this little circle here, this is where I was interested, these kind of areas here, because, this is kind of something that we've been holding on to for quite a while up here, this little trend line coming through here. So it did sort of sell down, and I actually caught some nice shorts. Actually did very well with the shorts in that. With gold, like through these areas and repeat, and it's just kept hammering it down, but it's still unable to sort of get through here. So they're holding on to it, and that as much as they want to try and grind it back up here, I mean, this could, no, I was going to say a little bit head and shouldery. Ugly, if it is. Could need a little bit of a move up with gold. But certainly if we get up to this level over here, say we pop in a new high, 40, mid-40s, whatever, and come down, this is still the level that I'm looking for. This sort of rising support. I think once this gets taken out, let's put an alert on it. I've already got an alert on it. Cool. Rising support, yeah, main thing, bang. So yeah, I think once this gets taken out and a solid close underneath, as you can see, a couple of quick tests in quick succession. Remember, the faster the tests, more likely it's like tap, 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 bang, goes through. If it's tap, up over here, then comes back down like this, most likely it'll be tap, like a ball, like, bang, bang. But if it's like, doof, doof, bang, 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 like a hammer, most likely it's then going to crack through. So this will be an early sort of indicator for me, particularly if we get a move up above here to take out any potential stops through these areas over here. It did sort of finish quite strong, but if you take out a couple of stops over here and reject back down, like this move we had through here, which was very good actually. I shorted it right into this one. I caught it right up near the top here. I think that was the move, was it? So all these days are kind of blur together. But yeah, that's actually was this move up here. So that was just Friday. Jeez. So late on a Sunday, I'm getting sort of a little bit thrown off here. But this was where was it? This move here. It was just it opened up and just went bang, 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 bang straight up. And there's an interesting quote that I saw from this that does these analysis videos and that as well. Older fella, and it's like the hallmarks of a bear rally: short, sharp, and unforgiving, or something like this. Anyway, the point being is it goes. It's just get us onto a lower time frame. Have a look at how it just ran here. As soon as it opened, there was nothing to it. It just went up, and then up, 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 and then just crunched down. So it was, and again, this is the same sort of stuff that we were seeing when DXY was starting to turn around. It was moving up, it was hitting new levels, and market wasn't going, great, let's run with it. They were going, great, better level to sell from. Pump it up, suck people in, sell it down. And this is what we're seeing repeat and repeat. So I do think we do have some downside coming with gold. Look, if we zoom out a bit, let's put on something a bit more realistic. Let's update this now. So we put this up here. And this is just based off, of course, our last move, which is basically just taking us through this year. So mid-December, but more or less call it just Jan, Feb. This is an unsustainable direction. You've hit price targets. It's up here. Look, realistically, I mean, all in all, it's consolidating right up near the high. So you can't fault this to sort of say, look, we're going to be coming bang back down over here. But I think the fact that we've sort of like hit a couple over here, it's on a little bit of a negative divergence. It does look like it's holding up like it wants to move through here. Look, but it needs a solid big move up through here, and you need to pop 3,000 this week. If you don't pop 3,000 this week, I think this is very much just going to roll over here. Look, it could go back to 28.67, which is, $60 off where we are now, and it's still only at the 23%. These things can really match. I mean, 38 is still a very solid, easy kind of level for things to sort of pick up and move forward with. Because think about it, how many stops would be all the way through here, wipe out a bit of the stuff. Even if you want to come down a bit lower and actually get that retest of last year's highs, that could be a nice little level to wipe out a bit of the book and that, and then sort of move up here. We saw it happen up through this area over here. I mean, I got smashed through this period here, made back a whole heap and got smashed. So it was hectic. And like, that's the thing. These kind of periods, this is what I was saying at the time as well. Same with this period through here. Same with this period through here. They're made like this to completely screw people out of the positions. It wipes the book. It gets people sort of like, am I getting long, getting short? It feeds some new stops for it all. But as you can see, sideways, 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 boom, trap, move up. This is a hallmark of gold moves. Consolidation, fake down, and then it rips to the top side. It did it as well, if you have a look, and this is it perfectly illustrates these sort of lower time frame moves. This move just here, this is because I'm trading stuff a lot on it. We have that consolidation through here, fake down, reload, bang, up to the top side. So look, all in all, it is just, as you can see, just consolidating through this period over here. But it does feel like it's trying to sort of break higher. It's tried to break higher a number of times. 1, 2, 3 attempts now have not sort of been able to take out new highs. The sellers are obviously moving down with it all. The buyers are trying to hold this zone here, but I think this is going to be a make or break area, which, as I said, look, I am sort of looking for the downside here. Could also see the same as we've seen with this. Range, fake, and then boom. You could see this consolidating, move up here, or even up here, and then sort of move back down here. But if you move up into this zone over here and reject, and start to come down, and you break this here, I think we're going chunk lower because, this is a support line that needs to be respected for the fact of if it breaks, it's got to play out. Like the way I say, price has got to be punished a bit. You either keep the trend going or you pay the price. And if you pay the price, if you break the trend, you pay the price, and okay, I think we could be getting down a little bit lower. So I think, a little bit of a healthy cooling, even around sort of 28.60. I mean, you could be 60 to 80 buck, $60 to $100 pullback from here would still keep it bullish, but I think it's definitely possible. And we're at 29.34 now. So we'll see how this one plays out in a week or two. What is it now? The 23rd of Feb. So we'll see how this plays out through till say the first week of March. But yeah, certainly at the moment, I've said I'd be cautious to be buying it up around here. So let's see how this one goes. Silver, on the other hand, is got no worries with being smacked back down, and it's been some wild swings through these areas over here. Let's get this out of the way, clean it up a bit. So I caught some great shorts on silver through this week as well. This first move up here was great. I stayed out of this area here because I said it was a bit wish-washy. Did a little fake out here, moved up here again, started shorting again, and I shorted all the way through here. And I think I closed out. I may have one or two runners left. I'm not quite sure. I'll have to check on these ones, which ones hit TPs and that. But as you can see, this whole move here has now been undone. Buyers were here, tap, tap. Is this going to go bang and break right through? Look, I don't think we're into any sort of major sort of breakdowns through here, but I think you need to respect the fact that, it's tried to break up. This was a lower high, sold down, came up, beat this high, but still lower high from here, not able to get back up over there. So I think, look, it's got a little bit of work to do. It is kind of just consolidating a bit here. Let's clean this up a little bit. Oops. Yeah, right. So as you can see, a fair way off for where the sellers have been pushing that through here. And there's not really anything you can hold through here. Even this, you would have thought maybe not. But to me, that kind of feels like it's really got a little bit more to go. This is on the 1 hour. That's an ugly finish to the week. And quite frankly, you can see that, this is where the buyers were. They were sitting in this thing. It's provided great support for these bounces going through here. Even on this last time here, and this is the thing that I was sort of saying, is in like, let's get these out of the way again, clean it up. Once you have a little bit of a sort of break, you get a time, bit of time. This one went bang, and then the very next candle undid that and closed through it. So yeah, I don't think it puts it in a great position to be looking for anything upside in the short term. Like, it doesn't mean that it's over and out. Let's zoom out here a bit more. But again, you've got the trend break over here, came up here, negative divergence. That was on a daily, that negative divergence. Yeah, it's tough. To be honest, it's just a really scrappy kind of chart at the moment. It is still generally looking in an upward kind of trend, but it just feels a bit rollover-ish, which means, coming down here, look for buyers around 32, but don't be surprised if it moves up to 32.50 and rejects back down here again, and we see some sort of continuation of this kind of move through here. So yeah, I think I would be holding off on anything too much. Maybe see what happens around this area. You can see that it's been bought here, bought here, bought here, bought here, bought here. Hasn't been back down here in the terms of these candles for a little while. So I'd expect a little bit of a sort of move around here. So I'll put a little buy zone here, but this is a cautionary sort of buy zone. I think we will get a reaction here. But I think, it could be short-lived. But, in saying that, that's still 40 points that you could come up, retest the underside of this, target to break through here. If you break through here, look, you're kind of sort of moving back down around this kind of level through here. So, look, there are levels of support where you could sort of see the buyers having another shot each time. And this could actually extend over to these sort of wick areas to down here and down here as well. So look, I don't think it's like, okay, bang, that's it, that's the end of it. But, I think a little bit of it's had a bit of a shot. It's failed a couple of times. I think it needs a little bit of cooling. Stop out some of the people that have been long through this period. that's where they're going to have their stops sort of sitting. So maybe this is a better buy zone down here around this 3170 level, and then 3170 look to this to sort of start to move back up. Actually, I would call that probably a bit of a better buy zone. So I'll see what happens. If we see a bit of a base over, actually, look, I'll keep that in there because I think that this could see some sort of reaction, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's a short-lived bounce before a breakthrough, and then this is a bit more of a sustainable sort of buy zone down over here at 3170. I think that's a safer kind of buy through there. If we clean some of these up, let's get rid of you, and we look at this move up here. This takes us back down to the 50%. Thereabouts around the 50%, and that, yeah, I think that's a probably better area to look for buys, 3170. All right, flip along. So we got copper, and copper's one that I was sort of saying that I was a bit cautious about this sort of move coming up over here. It was just oscillating around the 38% for a while. Came up here, found resistance right on point. You know, right where we were sort of saying, look, you know, this is where the buyers were previously. They tried to hold it. You know, they tried to hold this. They got it wrong. Came up here. They had a chance to get out for free. Well, free, you know, whatever. Minimal loss. They take it. Bang. More selling. Pressure comes here. Down here. So yeah, as I said, look, I think this is another thing that could see Aussie a little bit weak as copper moves down to our buy zone. I think you know, copper around this sort of 448 area is looking pretty good, just around the 68%. And I'd be looking to sort of get some longs over here because this is that big sort of resistance area back here. And I think this is really, it means it's paid its price a little bit from these highs after that 15% run. But if you get back down over here, I think it's a pretty good risk reward trade for 88 to see if we can get another travel up towards about 485. And finally with China, really sort of hanging at these lows here. But you got to see it is at this point unable to get through. So this is going to be the crucial area. This is the big one. I think once we get through here, we sort of target this sort of like larger sort of rising support. But I think that because it has such large implications, they're going to protect it for a lot. You know what I mean? So I don't think it's not going through haphazardly. I think you're going to see some big shifts in things. US dollar is going to be sold off across the board if this happens. Aussie, you want to be long on these kind of things, and this is probably when you're getting gold potentially even to around sort of 3,000 plus. So say we get a bit of a sustained move up through here while gold cools a little bit. You know, Aussie pulls back a little bit. US DXY has its little run. I reckon that we could be more in for something like this. Breakout box for this, just this. I have a feeling that we're going to be entering into a period of larger sort of consolidation through this period here. I don't see us breaking this straight away. If we do, great. But I think there's more of a higher chance of a little bit more of a move up and down and grind up and down through this area over here. All right, and finally, just have a look at gold silver ratio. As you can see, they're really protecting this line down the bottom over here. Little negative divergence, well, it's a big move, but little negative divergence here. Got nice reaction. Very quiet through the week though, but I think this is almost sort of a bit of a testament to pretty much a lot of the FX market, and certainly equity markets as well. They were just sort of dead. Through the whole week until we came into the end of the week there, and we had you know, things sort of sell off. Aussie selling down, equity selling down at the end there. Silver was moving down. Obviously, this being the gold silver ratio, gold bang was the chosen child into the end of the week. But even gold could not rally and hold the rally as this was moving up here, which I think is more of a testament to the idea that the whole gold market, or sorry, the whole metals market, has got some downside to come. Because silver got hammered, that's fine, gold-silver ratio, we know that silver's not the choice of these two. Gold is, of the two, and it still couldn't rally as it was moving up like this. I think once this, yeah, I think there's probably a little bit more downside to come, so I'll be still looking to sort of short metals through this week. All right, and let's just have a look at any other sort of news coming through. Already sort of went over and said, look at the big ones, probably look, actually let's go back to the start of the week. Yeah, retail sales, New Zealand, who cares? Bank holiday in Japan. Yen is one to keep an eye on as well. I don't trade specifically the yen a great deal, but that is certainly a little bit of a sort of one that's creeping along with some strength. The yields are sort of moving up. I heard sort of 1.5% is something which could hold a bit of a trigger for a bit more in their sort of 10 years, I think, yield. So that's one to sort of watch definitely because yen has been so weak for so long, but you're seeing a big shift in their approach towards things with sort of monetary policy and that. Um, of course, the election is a big one there. Not much through Asia apart from that. You got CPIs for Europe. What are we looking at? 25, 2.5, so pretty flat expectation there. Nothing to speak of. Nothing through Tuesday. We've got consumer confidence looking around here. Again, weaker US dollar as the thing that we're kind of looking for a potential bit more of a leg down for that next sort of thing before finding their support at that technical level. CPI, a bit of a tick up here. If this comes in higher, the higher it is, the more Aussie's just going to rip with it all. I think the risk is there that it comes in and higher and it goes up more. I don't think that Aussie really anybody cares about. Like if we get a low one, I don't think they're going to be going, oh, yep, they're going to cut because we know that that's not the only thing that Bullock's looking for. We know there's a lot of strong Aussie data to sort of, like CPI is definitely one big one in weighing up with it all. But again, we also know that there's probably not going to be another cut, or sorry, yeah, not going to be another cut till after the elections, which is another 3 or 4 months away. So a weaker CPI, I don't think really affects the market a great deal. Look, you'll get the knee-jerk reaction, but I don't think that's the sort of the thing that's going to be like, oh my God, wow, yeah, they're on the right path. They can keep cutting just because you get, a 2.5 or a 2.4. I think that's kind of the case for it all. You might see a little bit of strengthening of Aussie coming into this move as well, based on these smaller numbers here. Moving along, construction jobs moved down a little bit. Yeah, not surprised. Aussie's red tape place. You got CPI, 2% over in Japan. None of this stuff really super exciting. GDP, so this is 2.3, not too bad. It's a bit flat though. Unemployment, flat, not really expecting a great deal. Again, keep an eye on these ones. These ones Friday, and this is actually sort of tail end of the week. We're not really getting much. And then, of course, to finish the week off, we've got PCE. So this is one that the market will be looking at. And it's something that sort of we're going to sort of see whether sort of like, they can sort of stay on their sort of path of hey, we don't need to cut, we're still thinking about it, we can hold for a little while longer, or they're going to say, hey, look, you know what, we've got, because it's a balancing act. You've got the two things. You've got the inflation on one side, but you don't want to force the sort of economy into some sort of recession, just because you're sort of trying to sort of prove a point or anything like this, whatever. But the point is, that's the only bit of data. Is the only bit of data? No, actually, we got GDP. No, scrap that last line. Look, it's late. It's 11 o'clock on the Friday. Yeah, it's 11 o'clock on the Sunday. All right. Look, on that note, I think that's it for me. Okay, I'm done.